My beloved child, pause here for a moment. Before you move on to the next thing waiting for your attention, before another thought fills your mind, before the weight you have been carrying pulls you back into the noise of your day, I want you to stay here with me. Let your heart become still for just a little while. You may wonder why these words found you today. You may wonder why, among all the things you could have seen, this moment appeared before you. But sometimes the most important moments do not arrive with a loud announcement. Sometimes they come quietly, like a gentle light entering a room that has been waiting for morning. My child, I want you to consider something deeper than coincidence. What if this moment is not only about what you are hearing, but about what your heart has been searching for? What if there is a reason you stopped here? What if there is something within you that has been longing to be understood, comforted, and reminded that you are not walking through life alone? I know you have had moments when you questioned the timing of things. You wondered why certain struggles lasted so long. You wondered why certain answers did not come sooner. You wondered why you found yourself standing in places you never expected to be. But I want you to know this, my child. I see the whole path, even when you only see one step in front of you. I know the chapters you have already lived, and I know the pages you have not reached yet. There are moments when I gently interrupt your routine because your soul needs a reminder that you are still held, not forgotten, not overlooked, not abandoned. Held. You may have come here with questions that you have never spoken out loud. You may have carried thoughts that you kept hidden because you did not know who would understand. You may have smiled in front of others while quietly carrying uncertainty within your heart. But I see the places no one else sees. I know the thoughts that return when the room becomes quiet. I know the memories that still cause your heart to pause. I know the decisions you replay, the moments you wish you could revisit, and the questions you wish you could answer. My child, I am not bringing you here to overwhelm you with fear. I am not drawing you closer to remind you of your weaknesses. I am drawing you closer because love speaks before correction, and grace reaches before healing begins. There is a reason your heart feels drawn to listen. There is a reason these words are meeting you at this exact moment in your journey. You may not understand everything today, but you do not have to understand everything to know that you are not alone. Sometimes I begin with a quiet invitation. Sometimes I place a small moment of stillness in the middle of a busy day. Sometimes I allow one sentence to reach the place inside you that has been waiting for hope. A hidden message is not always hidden because it is far away. Sometimes it is hidden because the heart has been too tired to notice. My child, I know there have been times when you felt like you were simply trying to get through another day. You have carried responsibilities. You have made choices with the understanding you had at the time. You have tried to do what you believed was right, even when the path was unclear. And now you may find yourself wondering if there is something you missed, something you should have seen, something you should have done differently. But before you judge yourself, before you allow regret to speak louder than, my love, come closer. Allow me to meet you in this moment. The same God who sees your uncertainty also sees your desire to grow. The same God who knows your struggles also knows your heart. The same God who sees your past is also present in your future. This moment is not meant to leave you trapped in fear. It is meant to open your heart to a deeper truth. You are seen, you are known, and you are still being guided. Stay with me here. Let this quiet moment become a place where your heart can breathe again. Because sometimes the first step toward healing is not finding all the answers. Sometimes the first step is recognizing that you have been found. My beloved child, I know you are still carrying things that you rarely speak about. I know there are burdens hidden beneath the words you choose, beneath the smile you show, beneath the simple answer you give when someone asks if you are okay. You have learned how to continue even when your heart feels tired. You have learned how to complete your responsibilities even when your soul is asking for rest. You have learned how to be present for others while quietly wondering who will notice the weight you carry. But I notice, I see, I know, my child, there is a part of your story that many people do not see. They see the way you keep moving. They see the way you handle what needs to be handled. They see the way you try to stay strong, but I see the moments when the strength feels difficult to maintain. I see the quiet battles that happen inside your thoughts. I see the questions you ask when the day becomes silent. I see the emotional fatigue that comes from carrying concerns for too long without a place to release them. You have been carrying more than people realize. You have carried expectations that made you feel like you always had to do more. You have carried responsibilities that made you feel like you could not slow down. You have carried memories that still return when you least expect them. You have carried worries about the people you love, worries about the future, worries about whether the choices you have made were the right ones. My child, I know the exhaustion that comes from constantly trying to figure everything out. I know what it feels like when your mind keeps searching for answers while your heart quietly longs for peace. I know the feeling of lying awake and replaying conversations, moments, and decisions. I know the feeling of wondering if you could have done something differently. I know the feeling of looking at your own life and asking why some things became so complicated. You may have thought that no one truly understands the depth of what you feel. You may have believed that because you have not spoken about it, your pain has remained invisible. But your silence has never hidden you from me. Your quiet struggles have never been too small for my attention. Your hidden tears have never been ignored. My beloved child, I want you to understand something. The weight you feel is real. The tiredness in your heart is real. The moments when you feel overwhelmed do not make you weak. They reveal that you are human, that you have been trying, that you have cared deeply, that you have carried things that mattered to you. Sometimes the people with the greatest love are also the people who carry the heaviest emotional burdens because they care so much, because they want to protect, because they want to make things right, because they do not want to disappoint the people around them. I have seen every effort. I have seen every moment when you chose patience even when you were tired. I have seen every moment when you offered kindness even when you needed kindness yourself. I have seen every moment when you continued walking even though part of you wanted to stop and simply breathe. My child, I am not looking at you with disappointment. I am not standing far away judging the weight you carry. I am close to you in the middle of it. I am near to the heart that feels weary. I am near to the person who feels uncertain. I am near to the soul that has been trying to find peace in a season of questions. Before you search for answers, before you try to fix everything, before you decide what must happen next, I want you to know that your heart has been seen. The pain you have hidden is not hidden from me. The questions you have carried are not too difficult for me. The places where you feel tired are the very places where my love can meet you. My child, you do not have to pretend that everything is easy in my presence. You do not have to come with perfect words or a perfect understanding. You can come with the honest heart you have right now. You can come with your uncertainty. You can come with your weariness. You can come with the parts of yourself that you have struggled to explain, because I have never asked you to carry your burdens alone. I have always known the weight you were carrying, and I have always been closer than you imagined. My beloved child, now that you have allowed your heart to become still, I want you to look deeper than the circumstances around you. I want you to look beyond the exhaustion, beyond the questions, beyond the moments when you wondered if you were strong enough to continue. Because sometimes the heaviest burdens are not only the things we carry, but the things we have started to believe because of them. Sometimes pain speaks so often that its voice begins to sound like truth. Sometimes disappointment stays so long that it begins to shape the way you see yourself. My child, there are words you may have carried in your heart without realizing how deeply they have affected you. Words that were never spoken by me, but somehow became part of the story you tell yourself. Maybe you have started believing that you are forgotten. Maybe you have started believing that because something did not happen when you hoped it would, you were overlooked. Maybe you have started believing that because someone did not recognize your value, you must not have much value at all. But listen carefully, my beloved child. A painful season does not mean you have been abandoned. A delayed answer does not mean you have been ignored. A difficult chapter does not mean your story has ended. I know how easily the heart begins to create explanations when it does not understand what is happening. When you are waiting, fear tries to fill the silence. When you are hurting, doubt tries to explain the pain. When you are uncertain, your mind searches for reasons, and sometimes it chooses the harshest ones. You begin to tell yourself, maybe I am not enough. Maybe I always make the wrong choices. Maybe I have already missed what God wanted for me. Maybe the damage is too great to be restored. My child, those thoughts may feel familiar, but familiarity does not make them true. Fear can become a familiar voice. Self-doubt can become a familiar companion. Regret can become a familiar room where you keep returning. But I did not create you to live trapped inside those thoughts. I did not call you to define yourself by your weakest moment. I did not ask you to measure your worth by one decision, one mistake, one season, or one person's opinion. My beloved child, I see something different when I look at you. I do not see only what went wrong. I see the heart that was trying. I see the person who wanted to do what was right. I see the places where you were afraid but still continued. I see the moments when you did not have all the answers but still searched for a better way. I see the desire within you to love, to grow, and to become who you were created to be. The enemy of your peace would love for you to believe that your past has the final word. Fear would love for you to believe that one chapter can define the entire book. Doubt would love for you to believe that because you have struggled, you are disqualified from hope. But my child, I am not finished writing your story. The places where you feel broken are not places where my grace cannot reach. The moments you wish you could change are not beyond my ability to redeem. I do not look at you through the lens of condemnation. I look at you through the eyes of love. My child, there is a difference between conviction and shame. Conviction gently leads your heart toward healing. Shame pushes you into hiding. Conviction says, "Come closer, there is something I want to restore." Shame says, "Run away, there is no hope for you." But my voice has always been the voice that calls you closer. I have never wanted you to hide from me. I have always wanted you to bring me the parts of your heart that feel uncertain, confused, and tired. Because the places you try to hide are often the very places where my healing begins. My beloved child, do not allow fear to become the narrator of your life. Do not allow one painful moment to convince you that you are forgotten. Do not allow one unanswered question to convince you that you are alone. There is a greater truth waiting for you. A truth that does not ignore your pain but gives your pain a new meaning. A truth that does not pretend everything was easy, but reminds you that your life is still held in loving hands. Stay with me, my child, because when the heart has been listening to fear for a long time, it needs to learn again the gentle sound of truth. My beloved child, now I want to invite you to see yourself through my eyes, not only through the eyes of your fears, your regrets, or the opinions that have shaped the way you see yourself. Because there is something you may not have understood yet. The way you see your story and the way I see your story are not always the same. You look at the moments that hurt and wonder why they happened. You look at the places where you struggled and wonder if they reveal something wrong about you. You look at the things you wish you could change and believe they are proof that you have fallen behind. But my child, I see deeper than the surface. I see what others cannot see. I see the hidden growth that happened in seasons when you thought nothing was changing. I see the strength that was forming quietly while you were simply trying to make it through another day. I see the patience you developed through waiting. I see the compassion that grew through your own moments of pain. I see the wisdom that came from experiences you never would have chosen but that taught your heart something valuable. My beloved child, you often measure yourself by what is visible. You look at the results, the outcomes, the things that can be counted and explained. But I look at the heart. I look at the places where transformation begins before anyone else can recognize it. I look at the small choices of faithfulness that no one applauds. I look at the moments when you chose kindness instead of bitterness. I look at the times when you continued to love even though you had been disappointed. I look at the moments when you reached for hope, even when hope felt fragile. You may think those moments were small, but I see them as evidence that your heart is still alive, still growing, still being shaped by grace. My child, you have been so focused on what you believe you lost that you have not noticed what has been built within you. You have been so focused on the door that closed that you have not noticed the strength you gained while standing outside it. You have been so focused on the answer you have not received that you have not noticed how much deeper your trust has become while waiting. Sometimes my work begins beneath the surface before anything changes around you. A seed does not look like a garden when it is placed in the soil. A root does not announce its growth while it reaches deeper into the ground, yet life is already beginning. In the same way, there are things I have been growing inside you that you cannot fully see yet, my beloved child. I know you have judged yourself by moments when you felt uncertain. You have called yourself weak because you were tired. You have called yourself a failure because you made a choice you now question. You have believed you were falling apart when, in reality, you were learning how to depend on me in a deeper way. What you called the end of your strength may have been the beginning of surrender. What you called a setback may have been a place where I was teaching your heart patience and trust. What you called a mistake may have become a place where you discovered the depth of my grace. My child, I do not ignore the consequences of your choices. I do not ask you to pretend that everything is perfect, but I also do not allow one moment to erase the value and purpose I placed within you. I am not limited by your past. I am not surprised by your struggles. I am not confused by the places where you feel lost. I know how to bring beauty from places that once felt empty. I know how to restore hope in hearts that have become tired. I know how to guide someone who feels uncertain back toward peace. My beloved child, you are not only the person who made a difficult choice, you are also the person who is learning, growing, and becoming. You are not only the person who experienced pain, you are also the person who has survived seasons that once seemed impossible to carry. You are not only the person who has questions, you are also the person who is searching for truth. And that search matters to me. Look at yourself again, my child, not through the voice of fear, not through the voice of regret. Look through the eyes of love. There is more grace surrounding your story than you realize. There is more purpose ahead than you can see. There is more healing available than your heart has imagined. Because I have never looked at you and seen only what is broken. I have always seen the person I am lovingly restoring. My beloved child, I know there is a question that has been quietly living inside your heart. It is a question you may have asked in moments when the waiting felt longer than you expected. A question that rises when you look at your circumstances and wonder why things have not changed yet. Why has the answer taken so long? Why has the door not opened? Why have you had to walk through this season of uncertainty? My child, I know waiting can feel heavy. I know there are moments when patience feels less like peace and more like a quiet struggle. I know what it feels like when you have prayed, hoped, and trusted, yet the situation still seems the same. You look around and wonder if anything is happening. You wonder if your prayers have been heard. You wonder if the silence means you have been forgotten. But my beloved child, silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean abandonment. A season of preparation does not mean that nothing is happening. Sometimes the deepest work begins in places where your eyes cannot yet see. Think of a seed placed beneath the soil. From the outside, everything appears still. There is no visible movement, no sign of growth, no evidence that something beautiful is beginning. But beneath the surface, something important is happening. The seed is changing. Roots are forming. Life is developing. The hidden process is preparing what will eventually become visible. My child, your life can feel like that seed sometimes. You may look at your circumstances and see only stillness. You may think nothing is changing because you cannot see the results yet. But I see what is happening beneath the surface. I see the roots of faith growing deeper. I see your heart becoming stronger through lessons you never expected to learn. I see patience developing where there was once frustration. I see wisdom forming through experiences you once wished you could avoid. My beloved child, I do not waste seasons. Every moment has the possibility of becoming a place where I shape your heart. The waiting season is not empty space between where you were and where you want to be. It is a place where preparation happens. It is where I strengthen what will support you later. It is where I teach you to trust not only my blessings, but my presence. Sometimes you desire the promise, but I am preparing you for the responsibility that comes with it. Sometimes you ask me to change the situation around you, but I begin by changing something within you, because a changed heart can carry what an unprepared heart cannot. My child, I know waiting can challenge you. I know it can bring your fears to the surface. It can reveal the places where you have been, depending only on what you can see. But even that revelation is a gift, because I do not bring hidden things into the light to shame you. I bring them into the light so they can be healed. The waiting season is not a punishment. It is not proof that you have been overlooked. It is not evidence that your story has been delayed beyond hope. It is an invitation to grow deeper. Look at the seasons of the earth. A tree does not produce fruit every day. There are times of growth that happen quietly. There are times when the roots expand before the branches become full. There are times when the unseen work matters just as much as the visible result. My child, you are also growing through seasons. Some seasons are for planting, some are for strengthening, some are for healing, some are for preparation, and each one has meaning in my hands. Do not compare your season with someone else's. Do not look at another person's journey and assume that your waiting means you are behind. I am not writing the same story for every person. I know the timing, the purpose, and the path that belongs to you. My beloved child, what feels like a delay to you may be a preparation you cannot yet understand. What feels like silence may be a moment where your roots are becoming stronger. What feels like a closed door may be protection from entering something before your heart is ready. Trust that I am not only working on what is ahead of you, I am also working within you. Because the greatest transformation is not always found when circumstances change. Sometimes it is found when your heart discovers that it can remain at peace while waiting. My child, keep holding on. The seed does not become a tree overnight. The morning does not arrive all at once. Growth takes place through a process. And even in the hidden places, I am near, I am working, I am preparing. You are not forgotten in the waiting. You are being gently formed by love. My beloved child, as you continue through this season, there is a question that reaches deeper than what is happening around you. It is not only about when things will change or when the waiting will end. It is a question about who you are becoming while you walk through this journey. Because every season shapes something within you. Every experience leaves something behind. Every moment of patience, every quiet prayer, every challenge you face with faith is forming something inside your heart. My child, you may have been so focused on what you are waiting to receive that you have not noticed what is being built within you. You have been looking toward the destination, but there has been a transformation happening along the way. There is wisdom being formed through experiences that once confused you. There is patience growing in moments when you wanted immediate answers. There is resilience developing through days when you had to continue even without knowing exactly what was ahead. There is compassion being created through the very struggles that once made you feel tired. My beloved child, growth does not always announce itself. Sometimes the greatest changes happen quietly. A person becomes stronger not only through victories, but through the moments when they choose to keep going. A heart becomes wiser not only through easy seasons, but through the lessons learned in uncertainty. A soul becomes more gentle not only through receiving kindness, but through understanding what it feels like to need kindness. You may not recognize the person you are becoming because transformation often happens slowly. It happens through small moments that seem ordinary. It happens when you choose patience instead of frustration. It happens when you choose forgiveness instead of holding on to bitterness. It happens when you choose humility instead of needing to prove yourself. It happens when you choose trust, even when you cannot see the entire path. My child, there was a time when you may have measured strength differently. You may have thought strength meant having every answer. You may have thought strength meant never feeling uncertain. You may have thought strength meant always being in control. But through this journey, you are learning a deeper kind of strength. A strength that can remain steady even when circumstances are changing. A strength that does not depend on everything being perfect, or the strength that comes from knowing your foundation is deeper than your current situation. My beloved child, the waiting season has been teaching you things that cannot always be learned. It has been teaching you to listen more carefully. It has been teaching you to recognize what truly matters. It has been teaching you that your worth is not measured only by achievements, outcomes, or the approval of others. It has been teaching you to slow down enough to notice the work happening within your own heart. There are qualities being formed in you that will bless not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. Your patience can become a place of comfort for someone who is struggling. Your compassion can become a reminder of kindness, in a world that often feels rushed. Your wisdom can become a guide for someone who is searching for direction. The lessons you are learning today may become the encouragement you offer someone tomorrow. My child, do not underestimate the value of what is being built in the hidden places. The roots of a tree are not visible, but they are essential. The foundation of a house is not always noticed, but it determines stability. In the same way, the inner work happening within you is creating a strength that will carry you through future seasons. You are not simply waiting for life to begin. You are being prepared to live with greater depth, greater understanding, and greater purpose. My beloved child, there may still be questions you cannot answer. There may still be circumstances you wish were different. But look carefully at your own heart. Notice the ways you have changed. Notice the things that no longer control you like they once did. Notice the patience you have developed, the wisdom you have gained, and the compassion that has grown through your experiences. These are signs that your journey has not been empty. Something meaningful has been taking shape. My child, the season you are walking through is not only about what you will eventually see, it is also about the person you are becoming along the way. And the person you are becoming is being shaped through every lesson, every moment of growth, and every quiet step forward. My beloved child, after everything you have carried, after everything you have learned, there comes a gentle moment when the heart must decide what to do next. Not because you have to have everything figured out, not because every question has already been answered, but because every journey of healing eventually brings you to an invitation. A moment where you choose whether you will continue carrying everything alone or whether you will place it into hands greater than your own. My child, I am not asking you to pretend that the past did not happen. I am not asking you to ignore the emotions you have felt or the things that have been difficult. Healing does not begin by denying what happened. Healing begins when you allow your heart to stop fighting alone. Today, I invite you to release what has been weighing you down. Release the constant need to understand every detail before you move forward. Release the fear that tells you everything depends on your ability to control every outcome. Release the pressure of trying to carry tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. My beloved child, there are things only I can carry. There are questions only time can answer. There are situations that cannot be changed by worrying about them again and again. But there is freedom that begins when you open your hands and say, I cannot hold this by myself anymore. I trust you with what I cannot control. This is not giving up. This is surrender. And surrender is not weakness. Surrender is the moment your heart recognizes that peace does not come from controlling everything around you, but from trusting the one who walks with you through everything. My child, I invite you to let go of the weight of regret. Not because your choices do not matter, but because regret was never meant to become your permanent home. There is a difference between learning from the past and living imprisoned by the past. Wisdom allows you to grow. Shame keeps you trapped. I want you to take the lessons, but leave behind the burden that was never meant to define you. My beloved child, I also invite you to forgive. Forgive yourself for the moments when you did not know what you know now. Forgive yourself for the times when you were making decisions while carrying your own fears and limitations. Forgiveness does not erase responsibility. It simply opens the door for restoration. A heart that refuses to forgive remains tied to yesterday. But a heart that receives grace can begin walking toward tomorrow. My child, I invite you to trust again. I know trust can feel difficult when life has not unfolded the way you expected. I know there are moments when disappointment makes your heart cautious, but trust is not built by having every answer. Trust is built by knowing who is beside you even when the road is unclear. A child does not need to understand every direction when walking with a loving father. The child simply needs to know they are not walking alone. My beloved child, this is the invitation before you today. Not an invitation into fear, not an invitation into pressure, an invitation into freedom. Bring me the thoughts that keep exhausting you. Bring me the memories that still make your heart heavy. Bring me the questions that have no answers yet. Bring me the parts of your story that you are afraid to release because you think holding them gives you control. I can hold what you cannot. I can bring peace into places where confusion has lived for too long. I can bring light into places where uncertainty has made you tired. My child, take one small step today. Choose trust over fear. Choose grace over condemnation. Choose surrender over endless striving. You do not need to see the entire road before you begin walking. Sometimes faith is simply taking the next step while believing that you are being guided. My beloved child, the invitation is not to become someone completely different overnight. It is to open your heart and allow transformation to continue, one day at a time, one step at a time, one moment of trust at a time. And as you release what you have been carrying, you will discover something beautiful. The hands you were afraid to open were the very hands that were ready to receive peace. My beloved child, as you place what you have been carrying into my hands, I want you to look forward with a heart that is no longer trapped by what was behind you. I know there are still things you cannot see. I know there are questions that remain unanswered and paths that have not yet become clear. But the fact that you cannot see the entire road does not mean there is no road ahead. Sometimes the most beautiful chapters begin before you can recognize them. Sometimes the first signs of a new season appear quietly, like the first light of morning touching the darkness before the sun fully rises. My child, you have spent so much time looking at what happened that you may have forgotten to consider what could still happen. You have spent so much energy thinking about what was lost that you may not have noticed the possibilities that are still waiting in front of you. But your story is not limited to the chapter you are currently living. There are still pages that have not been written. There are still moments you have not experienced. There are still opportunities you have not discovered. My beloved child, I do not ask you to know every detail of the future. I do not ask you to predict every step or understand every season before it arrives. I invite you to walk forward with trust, knowing that uncertainty does not mean emptiness. The unknown can also be a place where hope begins. A farmer does not see the entire harvest when planting a seed. A builder does not see the completed house when laying the first stone. Yet both move forward because they believe something meaningful can grow from small beginnings. My child, there are new chapters that can come from seasons you thought would only bring loss. There are moments of restoration that can emerge from places where you once felt discouraged. There are opportunities that can appear after times when you believed every door was closed. This does not mean every challenge disappears or every answer arrives immediately. It means your future is not limited by your current circumstances. My beloved child, remember the seed we spoke about. Beneath the soil, the seed does not know how the garden will look. It simply continues the process of growth. It develops roots. It receives what it needs. It becomes something more than what it appeared to be at the beginning. In the same way, there are things developing in your life that you cannot fully recognize yet. The patience you are building today may prepare you for tomorrow's responsibilities. The wisdom you are gaining today may guide future decisions. The compassion growing within you may become a source of comfort for someone else. My child, do not assume that because the journey has been difficult, the destination will be empty. Do not assume that because you experience disappointment, joy cannot return. Do not assume that because something changed in the past, nothing good can be built in the future. Life can surprise you with new beginnings. Hearts can heal. Relationships can be restored. Dreams can be transformed. Paths can open in ways you never expected. My beloved child, keep your heart open to the possibilities I place before you. Sometimes, the opportunity you are waiting for does not arrive in the form you imagined. Sometimes, restoration looks different from what you expected. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough is not simply a change in your circumstances, but a change in the way you see yourself, your journey, and the possibilities ahead. The person you are becoming will recognize opportunities that the person you were before may have overlooked. The wisdom you gain through waiting will help you walk through new doors with greater understanding. My child, there is still hope ahead. Not because you know every detail of tomorrow, but because you are not defined by yesterday. The moments that challenged you have not erased your future. The questions you carry have not canceled your purpose. The things you cannot see have not disappeared from the possibilities that remain before you. Walk forward gently. Keep your heart open. Keep trusting one step at a time. A new chapter does not always begin with a dramatic moment. Sometimes it begins with a quiet decision to believe that tomorrow can hold something different from yesterday. And that small decision can become the beginning of something beautiful unfolding in your life. My beloved child, as you come to the end of this moment together, I want you to carry something deeper than just words. Carry the reminder that you do not have to walk forward with the same weight you carried when you first arrived here. The questions may not all be answered today. The circumstances may not all have changed yet. But something important has begun within your heart. You have been reminded that your story is not defined only by difficult moments. You have been reminded that your journey is not without meaning. You have been reminded that even in seasons of uncertainty, there is still hope. My child, remember what you have discovered. You are not only the choices you have made. You are not only the moments you wish you could change. You are not only the seasons that brought confusion, waiting, or disappointment. Your life is much greater than a single chapter. There is still growth ahead. There is still healing ahead. There is still purpose unfolding in ways you may not fully understand yet. Carry the wisdom you have gained. Carry the patience that was formed through waiting. Carry the compassion that grew through your own struggles. Carry the courage that developed when you continued walking, even when the path was unclear. These things are not small. They are signs that your heart has been shaped through the journey. My beloved child, when you face another uncertain day, remember that you do not have to return to the old fears that once controlled your thoughts. You do not have to believe every anxious voice that speaks in moments of weakness. You do not have to carry every burden as though everything depends entirely on you. There is freedom in surrender. There is peace in trust. There is strength in knowing that you can take one step at a time. My child, there may still be moments when you wonder if things will truly become better. There may still be days when your faith feels quiet and your heart feels tired. But remember this: a quiet season does not mean an empty season. A waiting season does not mean a forgotten season. A difficult season does not mean a hopeless season. Even when you cannot see what is happening beneath the surface, growth can still be taking place. Even when the morning has not fully arrived, the darkness is not permanent. My beloved child, take this truth with you. You are allowed to move forward with peace. You are allowed to release what you cannot control. You are allowed to believe that restoration is possible. You are allowed to hope again. The past may have shaped you, but it does not have to imprison you. The lessons you have learned can become the foundation for a wiser and more compassionate future. My child, today I invite you to rest your heart in this simple truth. You are not walking alone. The same presence that met you in your questions will remain with you in your next steps. The same grace that carried you through yesterday will continue to strengthen you tomorrow. You do not need to rush. You do not need to have every answer. You only need to continue moving forward with an open heart. My beloved child, may you leave this moment with a quieter mind, a lighter heart, and a renewed hope. May you remember that your worth was never measured by perfection, but by the love that continues to call you forward. May you find courage for the road ahead, patience for the process, and peace for the moments you cannot yet understand. And when you face another decision, another waiting season, or another uncertain chapter, remember this: you are not defined by what happened to you. You are being renewed by the grace that continues to guide you. Walk gently, trust deeply, hope again. The journey continues, and you are held every step of the way.